Hello, friends. The 928th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. The situation near Pokrovsk cannot yet be called stabilized, Zelensky said in Italy, where he met with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. According to him, the situation on this section of the front is not easy in any case. I don't want to speak ahead of time. If we can be patient for a little while, until everything completely stabilizes there, then we will talk about it, Zelensky said. I would like to note that before leaving for Europe for the Ramstein meeting, Zelensky said that the situation near Pokrovsk had improved. Commander-in-Chief Siersky also spoke about stabilizing the front there. At the same time, the Ukrainian military denied the improvement. Meanwhile, fighting continues in Hrodivka in the central part of the village. In Hrodivka, thanks to the introduction of reserves, the Ukrainian armed forces pushed the Russians back from the southeastern part of the city. At the same time, information is coming in that the enemy is encircling Ukrainsk and advancing between Hrodivka and Ukrainsk, where the wedge is getting bigger. This is typical of the tactics of the Russian army in this area, when they penetrate the defense of the Ukrainian armed forces and then diverge in different directions. Small arms battles continue in the southern part of Ukrainsk. The enemy attempted to break through from Lysivka to the eastern part of the city, but the Ukrainian armed forces managed to repel the attack. Further south, Russian maneuver groups are attacking in the direction of the northern part of the city of Gernik. The Russians have captured the village of Nevelsky northeast of Krasnohorivka, the Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State reported. Russian telegram channels had previously reported this. Also, the military observer of the Bild newspaper, Julian Ropp, writes that after the Russians completely occupied Krasnohorivka, the Ukrainian armed forces began to retreat from Nevelsky. He points out that the Russians also captured Gelitsinivka north of Krasnohorivka, and now the territory 10 kilometers to the south may be semi-encircled. As predicted after the fall of Karlivka, a large-scale withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from the semi-encircled cauldron west of the village of Nevelsky has begun. The Russian invasion forces have also captured the entire countryside north of Krasnohorivka, RERP reported. The withdrawal from Nevelsky may mean that Russian troops will soon occupy the entire salient near this settlement. Previously, this fortified area of the Ukrainian armed forces remained the closest to Donetsk. Judging by the Deep State map, almost all of Krasnohorivka has been captured. The telegram channel of the 46th Brigade writes that Krasnohorivka is already completely under enemy control. According to him, 1 or 2 streets in the gray zone are for speakers and a telethon to keep the settlement online for a few more weeks. With the withdrawal from the city, there are 4 kilometers left in a straight line to exit the planned Nevelsky cauldron. Taking into account the river barrier and several bridges even less. The Avdiivka experience says that the Russians will not close the cauldron completely, so as not to lose momentum, but will leave a small throat, taking it under fire control, the telegram channel of the 46th Brigade writes. Officer of the 47th Brigade Melnik also confirms the loss of Krasnohorivka and Nevelsky in Donetsk region by Ukrainian forces. According to him, we lost the battle for the area between Ukrainsk and Krasnohorivka near Memrik, and now we are only seeing the consequences, where our fighters are fighting with their last strength in semi-encirclement. Ukrainian military write about the tactics used by the enemy. According to them, in the Pokrovsk direction, the Russians do not always resort to frontal assaults. Now, on the contrary, they are trying to primarily look for holes in the defense, bypassing positions even in swampy terrain in small groups, gradually accumulating forces in this way in order to encircle our troops. In some places it works, in others it doesn't. Now they are trying to do this in the area of Ukrainsk, Lysivka and Gernik. A fighter of the 24th Brigade writes that the enemy in groups of 2 to 3 people runs across the fields to our rear and takes up all-round defense. Despite the loss of up to 80% of personnel, 20% still make it. The assault group accumulated overnight begins to storm our positions in the rear in the morning, diverting attention to itself. During this time, groups of 5 to 6 people are pulled up to them according to the same scheme, forming a strike group the size of a company. What follows from this, I think everyone understands, writes Fighter Bonyatov. The New York Times writes that despite the halt in the Russian offensive near Pokrovsk, the Russians continue to attack and advance south. The publication, citing Ukrainian military personnel, reports that Kiev has redeployed units of the 93rd Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, which fought south of Bakhmut, to defend Pokrovsk. The publication suggests that the defense there may now be weakened. Earlier, Russian telegram channels claimed that the Russians had broken through to the west of Klishchiivka. Ukraine has not confirmed this. Ukrainian troops are counterattacking in New York in the Toretsk direction, according to the Azov unit redeployed there and Ukrainian military telegram channels. On Friday, Azov reported lifting the blockade of Ukrainian fighters in the area of the phenol plant and taking the enterprise. At the same time, it was stated that the Russians' path to Nelipivka was blocked. Yesterday, the military telegram channel Deep State stated that the Ukrainian armed forces had taken an elevator in the center of New York. Some Russian military telegram channels confirmed that the phenol plant in the north of the village has been unblocked. Others publish videos of Russians in control of various areas of New York. According to Deep State, most of the village is controlled by Russia. The Ukrainian armed forces have only recaptured part of the territory in the north. Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.